and we just sharing some personal stuff so people can understand and try to be more sympathetic with the exonerees and people who spend so much time in prison. Not even just exonerees, it's a lot of people spend a lot of time in prison. Like I came home, I was a person that was really close to my family. I'm talking about really close to my family. I didn't have a lot of friends. I had family, right? So I was gone from 17 to 41. I thought of my family the same way he thought about his daughter. I saw everybody as I left him, so I was ready to get back to my grandma's house where everybody used to gather, and I had this. It was frozen. Like my experiences had literally stopped. For every person to go to prison, understand something. The last thing that you did when you went in will be the last thing you remember when you cut out. You don't, all that time you in prison, I was in there for 23 years, and the only thing I thought about was the last thing we did when we was at grandma's house, eating the kind of things we were eating, having the fun we was having. So I thought about those people in that kind of way. When I got out 23 years later, my mom was there, but I realized in reality that was not the case. There was nothing wrong with my family. I was just strange. I felt uncomfortable being around them. I realized they were strangers to me. I mean, and it hurt me because the whole time I was in prison for 23 years, the whole time I was thinking about was just getting back out to my family. And then when I got out and realized this is my family members, but I don't feel close to them no more. They still my family, but I didn't feel close to them no more. And that stuff bothered me for a long time. And I didn't know why. I didn't understand. I couldn't explain it. And back again, we talking about why exonerees and why it's important for us to have counseling and all these different things for exonerees. One of the things I experienced, I wasn't prepared for, and it hurt me. It bothered me a great deal because I thought about these people for so long and so much. But then even my blood sister came out, my same mother, sister. Be around her, it was just uncomfortable being around her because I grew up without being around them, and they didn't come see me like that, so I wasn't really close to them. And when I got out, everybody wanted to be close to me because they saw me as the same 17-year-old kid that went in too. So as you can see, it wasn't nobody right or wrong for what would happen. It was just these people was caught up in this dark experience, and no one knew how to deal with it. So I'm a stranger to my family to this day, but they don't know. They think I'm mad at them for not being there. And the truth is, I'm not mad at them for not being there. I'm not comfortable being around them because I don't know them. I'm comfortable being around the people I spend so much time with. And another thing is, honorees need to be aware of that you're going to deal with a lot of that stuff. And we want them to be aware and know that we here as a group and an organization to just, be a bridge over to some of that troubled water,
Yeah. I'm just, again, just like you said, not being comfortable around the people who I grew up with in my younger years, but that's true, and I'm thinking that they're not comfortable around me, and that's the same way it was when I go back to the prison experience, because that's the context that we lived in for so long. There's certain folks in the prison I wasn't comfortable around. I got away from them, and I'm saying, man, and I'd be asking myself, man, am I treating my family like, I'm avoiding them and like they, somebody that was on the prison yard, and I don't mean to, it's just that, I'm just sensing that the energy, you can feel the energy. It's just feel like it's negative energy, even though, and I could be mistaken, but that's just how I feel. I feel like, man, if I go around these family members, they, I can tell that, from body language, this ain't where I need to be right now. I leave, I mean, I go to my mom's house, and I'm talking about I hang out with her for a minute, but if somebody, like I say, another family member, a cousin, a relative come over there, and then they come and sit for a minute, immediately, I'm thinking, it's time to get out. Hey, Mom, I love you. I'll holler at you, and I know they be saying, man, what's wrong with you? Ain't nothing wrong with me, I just got something to do. I got to get, I'm just... and I'm you can't put my finger on it other than the fact that, it's just we strangers to each other, and then I'm saying, I don't know what you into, I mean, you might be into something negative, you might be into something positive, but I'm just saying, I just feel like, it's best that if I just kind of just stay away, from my own family members, and I know it ain't good, I know it ain't, it ain't right. But that's just, what them situations with, going to prison all those years, that's just what it do to you. And some of my family members, I know they would perhaps want to be close. They perhaps want to, just, engage and, and have a relationship. But how do you build a relationship with people that you just don't know? You know, people that you just really don't trust. You know, and that's what it come down to. You know, it's all about trust, and you know, and that's not just with them, but that's with most people out here. You know, it's hard to trust somebody. I mean, we've been burned so many times. Lawyers let us down, courts, judges, the system. We just been burned so many times, you know. And like I said, a lot of family members, I didn't hear from them when I was in there. They didn't write, they didn't call when they didn't. I mean, let me call, you know. But I try to, you know, connect with them and, you know, be in touch with them. They had lives. They went on with their lives. There was no fault to them, but they had families they had to take care of. But in my mind, I'm like, man, you wasn't there when I needed you most. So, I mean, I'm just, you know, I was a ghost to you then. So I just feel like I'm going to remain a ghost, you know, to you, you know. Something happened, family member passed, okay, I'll come show my respects. But basically, you know, it's just like we just ships passing in the night, you know. We know we're related by blood, but that's the extent of it. I did that time pretty much by myself. And that's kind of how, you know, most time I see Lamont. And most time you see me, we be by ourselves. And even though we close, but I can tell you right now, I can, you know, any day or night of the week,
Facts.
I can call him, or I can say, hey, I'm coming to holler at you. He can be anywhere in the world. I bet you he going to be by himself. He going to be by himself. Because we trust ourselves more than we, you know, feel comfortable around somebody else. Somebody else we feel like might bring us harm. But we feel, you know, me and my higher power, God, you know, and him and his. But I just feel like we just be by ourselves. We almost like loners constantly, you know, and like nomads. That's what a lot of exonerees, not just me and him, but a lot of them. And when I, you know, reach out to them, what you doing? Oh, I'm just hanging out. Who you hanging out with? Oh, I'm by myself.
Mm-hmm. So that's why they can relate to us. That's why it's so important that we do this work, because we can relate. That's why they can relate to us. They see what we doing. They know when we speak about that experience, they see us. They know they can't say, well, I don't understand. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do, man. I got to keep moving too. That don't mean stuff don't bother me. That don't mean I haven't been going through it too. I just learned how to keep going. You know, it's a quote by Winston Churchill I quote every chance I get, when he said, if you find yourself going through hell, keep going. And I read that when I was like probably 19, 20 years old, but it didn't resonate with me. Then I read it again, like when I was like 26, 27, and it stuck with me. And every situation I found myself in that wasn't good, I felt it to my nervous system. I realized I was in that moment, but I just told myself I gotta keep. It's hell. It's feel hot, but I can't stay here. I gotta keep moving. And when we speak to exonerees and we in these speaking engagements to colleges or whatever, whoever we're speaking to, we want to bring clarity on this situation. We want to let people know we relate. We can understand based on where we've been. We experienced it. We both did a lot of 2 decades in prison wrongfully. We know what it's like from both ends. We know what it's like from an emotional standpoint, from a financial standpoint, from even from a relationship standpoint. Whatever relationship that may be, relationships are difficult to maintain when you used to spend time with yourself, man. I mean, I'm comfortable being alone. People here in life don't like being alone, so it's conflict with that. It's conflict with your time, with your schedule. I don't like schedules and time no more. I don't like to be on time. You notice I don't wear watches or clocks. I hate them. I can't stand them, man. Like, it's a thing with time and schedule and all that. I like to just flow free. Like, hey, I'm going to be there when I got to be there. I don't like being on time and schedules. I'm on time. I'm punctual. Don't get me wrong with that, but I know why most exonerees say they don't like that. They don't like working or being on the clock or have to deal with scheduling, because they're trying to get away from that. So,
yeah, I'm just to touch on that is because we was just, you know, so controlled and so regimented into being this place, according to the institution's time. They always had us on time. Go to the yard, you go to your job site, you're going to, you know, a certain appointment, but it was always on their time. And I'm like, Lamont, I don't wear watches either. I don't like put watches, you know, rings and nothing on my finger, because it make me feel like I'm back in chains. And watches make me feel like handcuffs to me. And I don't like that feeling, you know. It's just, that's what it reminds me of. But, you know, and also just trying to be on time. And yeah, you know, and I'm punctual also, you know, it's most of the time. I mean, I'm punctual because there are times.
Most of the time, right. I am too, most of the time. You're right, yeah.
But I can tell you, and I used to be like this in prison. I probably did also, because every time they had main line, I was never the first guy to go, and I was never right in the middle of that crowd. I always lagged behind.
Yeah, always lag
I
behind.
want to keep everything in front of me.
Yeah.
So I was always late. And that's kind of my mentality. I'm always kind of a little bit behind everybody else because I had to keep everything in front of me. Because I'm knowing if you ain't, if you got something behind you, you don't know what may happen, and anything could happen. So, but, time and I mean, of course, we deal with time and space, and all these things. But one thing that I can say, is that, when you call us, to come to an event, talk to some students, talk to some kids, we there. We always there. When we have to fly somewhere, we on the airplane, we get there. We get there, and of course, and speak, whatever it is we need to talk about. Primarily we're going to talk about our experience and give people hope. And an acronym for the word hope is hold on, pain ends. So we just, and that's what we want to do. We just want to, make things better for people who are in prison and people who've never been to prison. And that's, another part of our mission, is just try to help people who are hurting. Because we've been through it. It's one thing about us, and everybody go through pain. It's universal. Everybody experiences it. So we know pain. We know suffering. But as he said, going through the fire, keep going. Don't stop. Just keep pushing through it, and we push through it. I'm just thinking about the years we got together, 23, 24. That's almost 5 decades. Almost 5 decades of pain and of suffering. 5 decades. That's a long time. 5 decades, and I'm saying, he went in at, 17, came out at 41. I went in at 22, came out at 47. It's 47 years between us, and our wrongful conviction combined. I mean, who would have thought, that we'd lost all those years? I mean, I never thought that, innocent people go to prison and you stay in prison for all those years for something you didn't do. I didn't think that was even possible till it happened to us. And now we know out of 2.3 million people in the prisons in the United States, if 1% of those folks are innocent, that's 23,000 people. That's a lot of people. One is too many. One innocent person too many. But it's believed to be 2 to 5% of people in the prisons in the U.S. in the United States are innocent. That's over 100,000 people. That's a lot of people. So, we got a lot of work to do. That's why we encourage you, to come and help us. Go to miracleofinnocence.org, and get involved. Come and support this movement, this cause, because this is a worthy cause.